speaker in the last agenda of the day, we have a talk on infrastructure development in Myanmar, outlook and opportunities, to be made by Ms. Kaveri Ashok, Ms. Ramya, and Dr. Mayil. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to say a few things. Dr. Mayil, despite his illness, took special effort to help me out with this presentation yesterday. And my PPT is a little text intensive, and please bear with me if there are any repetitions from previous sessions. I'm sorry about that. And all the figures and numbers I've used are sourced from IMF, OECD, and ministry websites. And I'm not an expert. Frankly, it's quite intimidating to be presenting in front of so many specialists. So with that, I begin. Infrastructure development, outlook and opportunities. So as we are all well versed by now, the recent economic developments is key in the surge of foreign investment in Myanmar. Particularly the new foreign investment law, which was passed on 2nd November 2012, is key in encouraging greater FDI. The fundamental features of the new foreign investment law are that it permits 100% ownership by foreign companies, and it allows the lease of land on a long-term basis, greater tax incentives for investments in special economic zones, which includes 5 years of tax holiday, etc., then guarantees against nationalization of foreign invested businesses. Then there is profits that can be repatriated at the prevailing market exchange rate through authorized banks in Myanmar, and new labor requirement specifies the use of local staff in skilled positions, including requiring Myanmar nationals to constitute at least 25%, 50%, and 75% of the workforce during each of the first 3 years of the businesses. In addition, there are also other incentives, such as the multiple exchange rates have been unified by replacing the official peg with a managed float system. And then there is an anti-corruption committee which is set up to make the process more efficient. So there is contrary to the usual development plans, which are short-term and long-term, there is a middle-term development plan which is developed after the reforms, which is known as the Framework for Economic and Social Reforms. It outlines Myanmar's policy priorities up till 2015 towards achieving the long-term goals. The framework emphasizes the importance of moving towards a market-driven economy, the need to move from top to down to bottom-up planning, and the development of free markets by employing direct and indirect government policy levers. So this is Myanmar's key medium-term development targets. This is a table that I sourced from OECD. So as you can see, the annual GDP growth, the initial status is 6.4%, and the current status is 6.8%. In spite of that, the target is set at a whopping 7.7%. So in my opinion, it's a very optimistic medium-term target that they have kept. And it's reflected in other factors as well, such as the poverty. It's seen that the target is to reduce rate by half by 2015 to 2016. There are several other factors which suggest the same. Then there is also a table on public services and infrastructure development. You can see that in the electricity generation, for example, they have aimed to replace all 14 gas turbine plants with combined cycle plants. Right now, they're all open cycle. So the overall economic climate seems to be favorable, with 8.25 average annual growth, led by gas production and investment. Inflation also is expected to be under 6% in the medium term. So the risks are mainly domestic. So external and fiscal buffers remain thin, and the government's capacity to develop and implement policies is being stretched. So fiscal strains are building as tax exemptions increase at the same time as expenditure pressures for both current and capital spending, including due to the forthcoming elections. Although the long-term prospect seems strong, it is subject to sustained policy and institutional reforms, which is challenging. This necessitates intensive and well-tailored capacity building within the country. So the overall, continuing with the overall economic climate, the FDI into Myanmar has definitely surged in, and the statistics go that in this fiscal year, it stood at US $3.32 billion with a 113 year-over-year rise. So the main sectors where the FDI is seen are telecommunications with 31%, and oil and gas with 23.8%, followed by real estate, hotels and others, which include textile and agro-based industries. So now let's take a look at India's presence in the infrastructure. So the first one I chose to be Kaladan Multimodal Transport Project, which is the most ambitious project. The agreement was signed in 2008. The last mention, however, was in November 2014, which said that it is likely to be finished by 2016. It is funded and piloted by the Ministry of External Affairs. And the other stakeholders are RITES and Inland Waterways Authority of India and SR Projects as the main contractor. SR Projects claimed that their work is done up to 70%. The main bottlenecks in this project is the underestimation of road lengths in Myanmar, lack of information about the hydro projects which are located on the Kaladan, which makes it non-navigable. So we took a Google image of the Sitwe port, which seems to have advanced over the years. From around 2010 to 2015, it is advanced to this much. So this is the Kaladan project beneath that. The sea route of 539 kilometer combined with a 158 kilometer of inland waterway navigation and a highway navigation of 129 kilometer up till Manipur in India. The next main infrastructure project that India took up is the Indo-Myanmar Friendship Road. The Tamu Kalewa Kalemio Road was inaugurated in February 2001 and was built by Indian Army's Border Roads Organization. We attempted to trace it on Google Map. It was underdeveloped, as we realized over the last 2 days as well. But the reports are that as many as 71 bridges were built or upgraded by the Indian Army. It is touted as a major strategic and commercial transport route connecting Northeast India and South Asia. The third one is again another big project called India-Myanmar Thailand Trilateral Highway. So this highway is to ensure connectivity from Moreh in India to Mae Sot in Thailand via Myanmar. So the main bottleneck is what you can expect from any multilateral projects. There are financial issues and there is security problems in various pockets in the proposed plan, and a lot of work remains incomplete. We tried to Google map this as well, but it was patchy. Next, we have the construction and upgradation of the Re-Tidim Road. This is a small 80-kilometer stretch connecting Tidim in Chin State to Re in Mizoram. So this is a very because it's in a very underdeveloped area. It is very key that it is a very important project. This facilitates development in very remote part of Chin State and border trade and commerce between Myanmar and India. Feasibility studies for upgradation of the same is underway. As for the hydropower sector, Indian government organizations have cooperated in two hydropower projects. It had also proposed 2 independent projects, Tamanti and Shwezai, which got stalled due to environmental concerns and financial unviability. For the natural gas and oil sector, we have stakes in few onshore and offshore blocks, with the stakes are mentioned here. And also the China pipeline, which starts from Shui, ONGC and GAIL have got stakes. Other than that, there are 2 private players as well, Reliance India Limited and Jubilant Energy, who have managed to acquire both offshore and onshore blocks. Other major projects of India in Myanmar include, in 2002, Indian government launched a remote sensing and data processing program to help Myanmar with weather forecasting, etc. Then there was an advanced center for agricultural research set up. Industrial training centers are there. English language training centers are there. There are a lot of centers set up for training. And one other much touted project was the revamp of Ananda Temple in Bagan, upgradation of Yangon Children's Hospital and Sitwe General Hospital. The other major Indian stakeholders include RITES, JK Paper, VNL, TCIL, Tata Motors. TCIL is special mention worthy because it piloted Myanmar's post and telecommunications project, which ensured high-speed internet in Myanmar. And Tata Motors, as my previous speaker has eloquently said, has helped with defense and other things. Now I come to the final part of my presentation. Here I wholeheartedly welcome all of your valuable comments and feedback. These are mere speculations that we have based on our readings so far. We are still in the nascent stage of our research, so please take that into consideration. So in energy sector, I feel we can make better use of India's presence in the oil and natural gas sectors. We can project our areas of expertise such as enhanced oil recovery, microbial enhancement recovery, etc., and push for an integrated upstream and downstream investment plans. There are also vast opportunities for power saving equipments and energy efficient service providers. So then another thing that we can think of doing is devise feasible hydropower projects which can be beneficial to India's northeast as well, given the tremendous underdeveloped hydro potential of Myanmar of about 39,720 megawatts. Indian companies can also think of providing alternative small-scale power generation solutions, given that Myanmar's population density is only 74 people per square meter. So off-grid small-scale power plants could be useful. So this is just to give a feel of what the other players are doing. This is purely the hydropower sector. The red dots you can see, the red marks are that of China, and the yellow ones beneath are that of Thailand, and they have shown two for India as well on the northwest part, but those are the plans which I mentioned that got stalled. Now, in the energy sector, we can think of the post-reform advantages and challenges. The advantages are that significant investment opportunities are there, and with the economic reforms and everything, there is a capacity uplift expected of up to 50 gigawatts, and this calls for an investment of roughly US $15 billion. Further, government has also indicated for more incentives such as deregulation of prices, adoption of appropriate taxes, and elimination of the across-the-board subsidies in the energy sector. These are still underway, but this has been indicated. And a master plan for the electricity sector is also underway. The main challenge is that there are 7 ministries that are responsible for various aspects of this power sector, and coordination is still a challenge. Moreover, the reforms are still in its dynamic phase, which explains the wait and watch attitude of many players. Regarding transportation sector, these are the roads which we managed to map. So, as I already showed India's presence in the roadways, it's towards the border and one small stretch of Reeth-Dim-Phalam Road and the India-Myanmar Friendship Road. Towards the west, you can see the huge roadway that is China Economic Corridor or something like that. And the network you can see down is the ASEAN highways. So you can see India's part is very small, but it is also challenging because it's border area and the development is not possible there properly. And the post-reforms advantage in transport sector is that under the framework of economic and social reforms, which I mentioned earlier, immediate priority is indicated for infrastructure projects, and again master plan on ASEAN connectivity. So it is a priority project. So investing in it would be advantageous. But again, there are challenges. Again, the institutional structure of Myanmar's transport sector is complex. There is no single agency with a clear oversight, shared between 6 ministries. There is no formal coordinating platform. And under the new investment law, particularly for railways, it can only be effected through a joint venture with a Myanmar national. Regarding manufacturing and industrial sector, Myanmar can provide an effective alternate location, as was endorsed by my previous speaker, and largely driven by low labor costs, which is the region's lowest, approximately US $65 a month. We can also make use of the downstream opportunities that comes with the establishing of special economic zones, such as master planning of the industrial zone, marketing to MNCs, waste management solutions, logistic operations, etc. There may also be opportunities in the development of deep sea ports in the SEZs, or construction of warehouses and terminals with through joint ventures with local partners. Regarding urban development also, there is an immediate need of customized, cost-effective waste management systems and clean water supply for all these industrial parks that are coming up. Affordable housing project is something else that Indian players can look into. Public transport infrastructure is also very lacking, so that is also a major gap which can be looked to fill. And in the hospitality and tourism industry, according to the Ministry of Hotels and Tourism, the industry has risen by 30%, and there is a huge demand. So we can there is a huge demand for hotels and things like that. And there is also we can also do training programs for the local hospitality and tourism workforce. Post-reform advantages for investing in special economic zone is the draft new Special Economic Zone law is expected to streamline the existing regulations with the new foreign investment law passed in November 2012 and provide additional incentives such as exemption and relief on import tax, commercial tax and value-added tax. On top of that, there is also a greater level of income tax exemption and relief under the new law. The challenges are that it is very time consuming as there are several tiers of development for an SEZ to take shape. With the reforms still ongoing, it will be tedious for the investors to figure out things. That's all I have for now. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kaveri Ashok, presenting the opportunities that exist in Myanmar for prospective Indian investors in the infrastructure development sector. Okay?